And welcome back to another edition of the podcast. My name is Ramon, and this is Dad's Podcast Project. And today I want to give an update as to what it is that's currently going on with this coronavirus, what it is my family and I are doing to try to be as best prepared as we possibly can for whatever may come in the future, and just further document what it is that's happening, at least in our lives as parents, and just trying to maintain a sense of stability in what very well may be an unstable time. So, as far as the coronavirus in the news, they've just been talking about how now it's currently in just every state in the United States of America except for, I want to say, 3. That's total coverage. So far to date, there's been 50 confirmed deaths, and I believe 500 reported cases. Now, this number is argued on depending on whatever news site you're going to. If you're listening to Fox, NBC, MSNBC, whatever, wherever you're going to, everybody has sort of different little things that they want to say about the number of 500 cases. And they're saying this because of the amount of testing or lack thereof that has been done on our part of the United States in comparison to, say, the amount of testing that they did over in South Korea, the amount of testing that they did in China, and the amount of testing that they've done in some other countries. Now, that's not to say that makes it any more or less a big or less of a deal. I think that either way you slice it, it's something that's going around, and it would be nice to know how many confirmed cases we have out there. But at the end of the day, I think that maybe at this point, some of the better time, or like some of the time, can be spent more or less finding out what kind of vaccination we can maybe get, and how long that's going to take to get. So, with regards to what we've been doing to prepare for this, I don't know if any of you guys are taking these precautionary steps on your end. I know that social media, it's interesting the time that we're living in right now, and how, everyone has their own little soapbox when it comes to what it is that they want to convey. I mean, this podcast right here it's exactly that. It's a soapbox in itself for me to stand upon and just say whatever it is that I want to say, whatever it is that's affecting me and mine, and put my 2 cents out there into the ether and see what comes back, if anything. Now, on social media, with regards to Instagram, for example, there's a lot of people that are just, and Reddit as well, I should say, but there's a lot of people who are calling out those who want to go and say, pick up toilet paper. And they're making the jokes or the memes that, this is a virus that, has flu-like symptoms, not diarrhea symptoms. So why are you buying toilet paper? And I think that with that argument, people want to take something that people are making a mad dash to get and just undermine it or undervalue it. I mean, it is in a sense it's like a necessity we've grown accustomed to. I don't think anybody today has quite figured out how the 3 seashells work from Demolition Man. Otherwise, no one would be using toilet paper anymore. We would just be using the 3 seashell system. Now, that's a whole conversation in onto itself. However, it's interesting to me that everybody wants to prepare in their own way. And where I see the line is that, yes, there are individuals who are going out there and purchasing something like, say, toilet paper, because it is something that they're going to consume anyways. Whether it's a state of emergency like we are in right now, whether things go on lockdown and people have to stay inside of their homes. If you had to stay inside of your home and you looked at the supplies that you had and the amount of toilet paper that you had, you would probably think to yourself, well, I could get by, splash a little water, we have a shower. I mean, there's options, but you don't want to fully lose that level of comfort just yet. So maybe you just go out and buy some toilet paper and it's not that big a deal. Then you have others who want to make the argument where, well, they're not just buying like one pack of toilet paper from Costco, which is like an insane amount of toilet paper when you think about it, but they're maybe buying pallets full or like 2 or 3 shopping carts full. And they want to say that these individuals are the problem because they have toilet paper stockpiled. And there was a woman who did a study on this, and like the habits of people. And more often than not, it's not because it's just buying it just to buy it. It's there, I'll just take it all. Or they're hoarding. It's a sense of control in an environment that they feel that they have no control over. And this provides them with a sense of comfort. Now, that might be a small percentage of the people who are out there purchasing these rolls of toilet paper. And then the other part are those who see the economic gain to be made with this worldwide event. And before we throw any of these individuals under the bus, because there was a Reddit post where somebody purchased like an entire pallet full of disinfectant wipes, and the tag was, this individual's like a dirtbag, or this individual's a problem. Last I checked, we live in a capitalist country. This person merely just sees the opportunity where there is a very high demand for this product and is then going out to hopefully reap the reward of it. And others might want to look at it like, well, that's shady. That's low. I can't believe that. But they don't want to bat an eye when Amazon is out there closing small businesses. They don't want to bat an eye when Netflix was shutting down Blockbusters and Hollywood Videos because of the innovation that they made, of the steps that they made to undercut the competition. That when you're the only game in town, you control the price. And now they're merely just a consumer who's buying what's in stock. And I think they're making a huge gamble on there no longer being stock coming in following up after that. Or they're just thinking everybody's going to buy it. But at least from what I learned through economics, they're merely just going to create that median level anyways. And you're only going to get what a person's willing to pay for it. I think that an investment in, say hand sanitizers or disinfectant wipes, I should say, might not be the wisest thing to spend, say, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on, because I'm not sure what kind of return you can expect to get off of that. But to each their own. If you have the extra cash and you want to do that and you want to make that investment, then by all means, because people were doing that when investing in homes and selling their homes, and then all of a sudden the housing market crashes, and there were people who made money after that because homes were at an all-time low, interest rates were at an all-time low. They were trying to get people back into houses at a time when people were like, no, this is not a sure thing. Like I'm skittish about doing it. And it was those who had the money to do it at that time who reaped the most benefit. Not when the economy was already good, but when it was like low. So demand is high, buy the products, sell it for a higher price. Again, you're going to be competing with other people, and this isn't a podcast about economics. I'm not an economist, so even then, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I went to Costco yesterday. Yesterday, my son, his school, it was closed, and I'm not sure if it was closed like the exact reason. I think that they were meeting, like the teachers were meeting to discuss like what it is they were going to do going forward. And so I took that opportunity to then just go to Costco. I looked in the refrigerator, I looked in our cupboards, and I saw, there are some items that we can do with purchasing in bulk at this time so that we don't have to do it later. Because a lot of times when people are seeing these long lines in front of Costco, I'm sure you've seen it all over social media, people with their cell phones out, like, oh my gosh, these lines are ridiculous. They're going all the way from the door out to the street. That's today. When I went yesterday, it wasn't like that. Tomorrow, it might be even worse. So to everybody who, again, is saying something like, nobody wants to be wrong in this. Like, if you're the one who's bagging on someone for waiting in line or buying toilet paper or 2 cases of water, and it like hits the fan, and now you need this stuff, I mean, I can only hope that it's still there. And I can only hope that people are civil at that time. Because to touch on this, we have 2 Costcos where we live. There's one south of us, and there's one north of us. And we're smack dab in the middle. So we got options. Now, for those of you who know where I live, you know that the one that is south of me, the demographic in that neighborhood is a little bit different. A little more my people, my folks. And I know my people. I know my folks. And I know that when push comes to shove, things are liable to go off. Someone's liable to get cut, punched, fights break out, whatever the case may be. I don't want to put myself in that type of environment. So I decided to go to the one north of me. And this community is completely different. This community, I mean, everybody's like kind of just, oh, this is interesting, isn't it? Like, this is kind of funny. Are you here to get toilet paper too? Everyone's having sort of a nonchalant conversation about this. And even the people waiting in line, I mean, you had 2 of the usual suspects. And these types of individuals are in all walks of life. It doesn't have to be just this scenario, people waiting in line to get toilet paper or water. But you have the person who was waiting in line in the back. And as soon as they started redirecting the line because it was getting way too long, this person was like, no, I'm not going that redirected route. I'm just going to cut right in front of everybody. And I've been waiting in the back. I earned this. And now there's not really anything we can do. There's no like, I guess, the forum of how to handle this type of situation. I mean, Costco really is kind of like any other store where it is a first come, first serve. And the fact that the employees took the time to kind of, manage the line and be up there to hand people their limit. So when I finally got up to the front, the limit was like 1 pack of toilet paper rolls, 1 pack of paper towel rolls, and 2 cases of water, which equates to, I mean, think about, what is it, 10 gallons of water? So I just took it all. It's like, I don't want to come back. This was a mess. This was a huge, and it wasn't even as bad as it is today. I'm looking at people on their social media, on their IG and everything like that. And it's not even remotely as bad as it is today. And so I think to myself, I don't want to come back. I just want to get what I need. Now, paper towels, I probably could have passed on it. We have a ton of them. I'm looking at them right now and it's like, gosh, that's a lot of paper towels. But toilet paper, I mean, we were running low. We're a house of 5, our 2 kids, grandma, my wife and I. And so we need toilet paper. If it was just me, I mean, I'd probably been good for the year with just 1 case. But even then, I also took the jugs. We had like these jugs of water these empty jugs that we purchased from Walmart. And I took those to Food 4 Less and refilled them. So we have those as well as the cases of water. Plus my wife, she also picked up a couple cases. So, I mean, I went to some website and this was saying like, if you were trying to prepare for like a shut-in, that you would need, if it was like a 14-day, had to stay in your house, about 1 gallon per person per day. That I think for us, I think it came out to like about 35 gallons was what we needed or what we need. And we had some Brita filters, but we had no Brita pitcher. So when I went to Walmart as well and I picked up a pitcher, just a small one. And I figured, well, we'll just use the Brita pitcher for drinking water and we'll just save this other water if and when the need arises to use it. Because these Brita filters are supposed to last you 2 months. And now they're talking to people and they're saying it on television and on the internet and on all over wherever you consume your news that schools are shutting down for like 2 weeks. Businesses are closing for about 2 weeks. But by no means is this something that like is just going to be over in 2 weeks. That this very well may be something that affects us for the rest of this year, well into next year. Until we get some form of handle on it or vaccination or some type of thing to combat this. And even then, like there was somebody who put a post like, even if they came out with a vaccine, half of y'all wouldn't even take it anyways. Because, and you guys know my opinion on anti-vaxxers and stuff like that, but I wonder if this would be something that would be such a moment that people would look to vaccinating and think to themselves, I was against it, but given these numbers that I'm seeing, and that's saying if the numbers are bad, and if this doesn't show signs of it like getting better before it gets worse, that maybe I'll just get vaccinated. Maybe I'll vaccinate myself. Or I think it would definitely move the needle for those who are on the wall about vaccinating. Maybe they don't get flu vaccinations. Maybe they don't get, a rubella vaccination or whatever for their kids. But this one for themselves as adults, the coronavirus, would you be open to that? I know I am. And if and when they release it, I'm going to be in line for that too. And to get back to like talking about this whole like waiting in line thing with going to Costco and going through that whole process of just purchasing toilet paper and water and paper towels. Even the eggs look like they were running low. And we eat eggs in this house. So I don't want to have to go out again to the grocery store. I figure, they're telling us to limit our contact with large groups of people. And these large groups of people are currently congregating in grocery stores. So I went, and this was like the first time I've ever done this. I bought the 5 dozen. I almost debated getting the box, but I figured, you know what? That's a lot of eggs. If we were to go that route, that is a lot of eggs. So I got 5 dozen. And I debated getting like some coffee creamer just because if I got to be home and I got to have my cup of coffee, there are some little luxuries in life that, before going whole like dystopic Mad Max kind of future, let me get some coffee creamer at least. And not saying that that's the direction that this is going to go by any means, but you got to be able to laugh during some of these times. And I also went down the frozen food section and just sort of purchased stuff right there as well. We're already talking about water conservation in this house. Because to get on the next topic, Santa Barbara County, I believe, is shutting down their schools. So I think starting Wednesday, today is March 14th, and starting Wednesday, or today's a Saturday actually, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in 4 days or 3 days, and then on the 4th day, the schools will be closed. And I was talking with my coworker about this, and he was telling me that his son is actually going to be affected by this. So they're either going to have to scramble to find daycare service, or hopefully grandma can step in and help out, or one of them is going to have to stay home from work. That's the reality. Another one of my coworkers, his wife works for the school system, so she's going to be affected. Is she going to have to stay home? Or will they still go in? Because I was also reading that some of the local school systems are going to offer lunches for the kids. It'll be like a drive-through type service, so that kids can still get meals. And this will also help augment parents' financial responsibilities, because if a parent isn't working, then they're not earning. And even then, what's that going to look like? I know that some places they're advancing PTO ahead of time, but still, that's still your personal time. It's not like they're giving you like, oh, you know what, go ahead and take it paid. They're just forwarding it to you. And once it's done, it's done. If you don't have any vacation time, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, I mean, my heart goes out to you people. I know that, geez, just looking at ourselves, we were fortunate to have filed our taxes when we did, and we got our return when we got it. And that money wasn't burning a hole in our pocket. Because right now, that's, at least until we see how things are going to happen or roll out on Monday, that may very well be our supplement to get us through till we get further word on what's going to happen. Because it seems as if this is like a day-to-day kind of thing. Like, I'll know more tomorrow than I knew today. I know more today than I knew yesterday. That's for sure. And though I'm still not stressed or worried, I'm definitely thinking about it a little bit more. After we put our kids to sleep last night, I kind of couldn't sleep. It was just on my mind. Here they are. They have, their whole lives ahead of them. And we have this event that's happening. Just like I'm sure parents felt back during 9/11. I was in high school when that had happened. So for me, it was like, well, what does this mean? Like, I almost like one of the running jokes I kind of remembered that was happening. That was this one, well, not like a running joke, but that was this one kid who made the joke, kind of like Starship Troopers. Like, we're seeing that, and then he was just running by, like, we're going to war. And he was just hype. And it's been this long running thing, like since high school till still to this day. I think there are still soldiers over in the Middle East. And it's something that's affected hundreds, if not thousands of families, hundreds, if not thousands of young adults. And this very well may be that same type of moment. But now I'm in, say, not quite my parents' shoes, because I was a teenager when 9/11 had happened. I think my parents, when Kennedy was assassinated, they were like elementary school age. And that was a moment. I mean, the teacher was crying, all this stuff. Like, you knew something was in the air, something was different. And, it's not to say that, I mean, the world keeps turning. These events, these historic moments in time that are traumatic or that test us as human beings and how we treat one another, these happen all the time throughout history. So I'm not trying to blow this one up like, this is the one, this is the big one. Don't get it confused. That's not what I'm trying to say with this. I'm just trying to convey that for my kids, being so young, I don't think they really know what it is that's happening. They're still running around playing, watching their iPad. We have Frozen 2 on repeat. It's just another day. But I'm up thinking about it, thinking about them. How's this going to affect them? How's this going to affect our family? And as I said before, I'm not panicked. I'm not stressed, but I'm thinking about it. And I think it's because I want to be prepared. I want to be as prepared as I can be for them, because it's not just me anymore. I mean, if it was just me, it's like, whatever, I'll figure it out. I'll bounce back. I'll get through. Or I don't have my parents to fall back on and say, well, if stuff hits the fan, like I'll just move back in. I mean, that's not the case. Like, we've got to make things happen. We've got to make sure the roof is still over our head, that our kids still have food in their stomachs, and that we still have water and toilet paper for that matter. Because I don't think that, like, I would be open to the idea of like the bidet type system or, whatever. But I don't think my kids would be, they would probably be like, what the heck is this? What's going on here? This is not regular. But I made it a point. I picked up some more diapers for our daughter. Because though we have enough, we want to make sure that, that we're prepared. And I even picked up another box of wipes, because you gotta have that stuff. Dry goods, it's just regular. Chips, crackers, canned goods. The shelves were so bare. The one thing that I really, really wanted that I'm so bummed that I didn't get was rice. Like I said, being half Filipino, I mean, rice is a staple in my life. And when I was waiting in line with an empty cart, just waiting to get water, toilet paper, and paper towels, I saw these dudes with like 2 bags of rice each in their carts. And I thought to myself, that rice is going to be gone because they were the 25-pound bags of rice. Now, I just wanted one because I mean, my family, they don't really eat rice like I eat rice. So that would have lasted a good while. I also wanted to pick up some instant noodles, like some Top Ramen or some cup of noodles, something like that. Like just a little something like once we go through the meat, once we go through the eggs, and now we're on sort of like dry goods, and while we try to get to the store to replenish the other stuff, this is sort of like fillers. These will help keep us afloat kind of thing. Because again, I don't really know what to expect, but I feel comfortable knowing that at least we'll still be able to eat. At least we'll still like be able to drink water. I mean, it's not to say that we can't drink the tap water, but I mean, if we don't want to give up the little luxuries that we have in life. I guess these are first world problems because here we have people waiting lines out the door for water, and yet we've got the tap. And who's to say we can't just buy a 5-gallon jug and just fill it up with tap water straight from the hose? It's the same thing, right? Get a little Brita filter and then you can filter that. You don't have to wait in line or anything. But it's the convenience, and it's just something that we've grown accustomed to, I think, living here in the United States of America, that's just, it's something that goes with the territory, and it's really not something I think any of us is ready to give up just yet. Now, other things that have been coming out is the president of the United States has said that he's taken a test, and a coronavirus test, and I think those results have since come back negative. I don't really know if I would have believed it otherwise. Like if it was positive or negative, it's like, I don't think they would have told us if it was positive, because this is the same president who got like the clean bill of health when he's got like blood type gravy, and he's like I forget what his doctor said. It was something wild. And it's like you look at the person and you look at what the doctor had said about him, and it's like, really? I don't really think so. But again, I mean, that's neither here nor there. It's just something that was in the news, and I thought I would mention. Also, certain things that are hopefully going to come into place are some form of relief. I think small businesses might get a tax break because if they have to close, they're going to take a hit. And I'm not sure what that's going to look like for them. Offering kind of like a modified form of unemployment or access to unemployment due to the coronavirus. If you, for some reason, you're out of work, there were a lot of people who are worried about getting laid off. I know that the place where I'm employed, they sort of talk to us and they're keeping us in the loop as to what's going on. So I don't really feel any concern in that sense, but there are a lot of people out there who do. I think it was the MGM in Vegas, the casino. They are closing because a number of their employees had tested positive for the coronavirus, as well as other casinos like Vegas may shut down. And that's a lot of money. Sporting events, the NBA, what was it? March Madness, the NHL, baseball. I mean, I'm not really a sports fanatic, but sports is also stopping or taking a break for the season because of this. I mean, it's a huge forum for people to get together and to watch these sporting events, and it's also a place where people can transmit the disease. So I think they're taking the precautionary measures. They've also shut down inbound flights from Europe and other countries. There are sort of bans on allowing those individuals in. Now, it was said that American citizens can come back home, but everybody else, it's like, you can't come in. And there again, flights are taking a hit. Cruise lines definitely taking a hit. Small businesses taking a hit. Parents who have to stay home because their kids can't go to school, they're taking a hit. It's something that started, and even on the news, like China is trying to deflect and say, well, America should tell the truth. It was your soldiers who were here that brought the virus. It wasn't us. This is news to us. And it's like all signs pointed to, yes, it was you. It originated in Wuhan. You guys suppressed the information from getting out so that the world can prepare, or at least you guys can prepare. Now it's out and everybody's getting hit worldwide. And it's kind of a weird thing. But again, I'm not from mainland China. I don't know that government. It's just, it seems like an odd thing to just deflect. It's like, just own it. I mean, it happened and whatever, I mean, it's not like China's going to go to jail for it. China's an entire country, an entire people. If it's something that's embarrassing, and then, you know what? I think that I can understand why certain people might not want to be embarrassed, like on a world stage. But at the end of the day, it's like, we just got to get past it. We got to do whatever it is we can. Hopefully we have the brightest minds who are on it. I mean, there are already people who are out there on social media just spreading the good information. There are also those who are spreading misinformation, but there are those who are spreading good information, like where they can go to get food with regards to schools allowing for pickups of food for students. And next thing I think is where people can receive childcare. I know that to find a babysitter, like, person has to be certified or registered or whatever the case may be. But given this circumstance, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are like, I just need my kids to be seen by somebody. I need my kids taken care of. And there's going to be a whole lot of like black market babysitters that are just going to be popping up. And that's just the way that it is. I'm curious if some businesses would allow for parents to just bring their kids to work, or businesses that aren't going to close down. I spoke with a buddy, or he messaged me on IG, and I asked him. He works for the corrections as a corrections officer, or he works for the prison as a corrections officer. Sorry, and he was saying that it's just business as usual. The inmates are terrified. Some are freaking out, and for them, they still just carry on. They're a necessity, or I forget what the term is called, but their services are required. They can't just shut down the prison and just leave the inmates, like unlock the cells, leave food out and available, and just let them figure it out for themselves. I'm pretty sure you'd get back and it'd be pretty dystopic already. So they still have to be there. A lot of city workers still have to go into their offices. If people are still going to get traffic tickets, they still got to go in and pay those. People still have court dates. They still have to go in and be seen in court. I mean, there's a lot of things where people still have to be at work. And now other places like, well, I could see McDonald's closing their lobby, but not closing their drive-through. I can see fast food restaurants closing their lobbies and then leaving their drive-through open, and maybe running with like a skeleton crew because of that, to limit the exposure or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how things sort of pan out over the next few weeks and over the rest of this year. Really, it's been an interesting year so far. And I'm interested to see what's going to happen and where it's going to go from here. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen. This is sort of just part 2 of what's going on with the coronavirus in my family, like what it is we're doing, how it is we're feeling, what it is we're thinking. And let me know what your thoughts are. How are you preparing? What are you doing? Are you worried? Are you freaking out? Are you just like, this is whatever? Or are you the type that's like bagging on those who are buying toilet paper rolls in mass quantity? Either way, I'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, till next time, see ya.